Hotelier on the Grill. Good afternoon. This is Stuart J. Raj and welcome to Hotelier on the Grill. I'm sitting here in Phuket at the amazing Maikhao Dream Villa Resort and Spa property, and I'm with David Coyle. Welcome, David.
Thank you.
Could you just introduce yourself briefly? Not too much. We'll get more into that into the interview.
Okay. I'm the general manager here at Maikhao Dream Villa Resort and Spa. I've been here since August last year, so coming up to a year, operating this property and working closely with our second property in Natai and looking after the owner's assets in Thailand generally.
So, David, we've been seeing since we've been here some amazing things that you're doing with the property and the staff here.
Mm-hmm.
Question number one, where did you first cut your teeth?
Oh, my first position was in the Whitsunday Islands off the Queensland coast of Australia at a 3-star resort, which was actually a Kentucky resort, so 18 to 35s. And I was, my first job was a bellboy or porter, as it was called in those days.
So you started off as a bellboy, a
Yes, I did.
porter with a bunch of hormonal teenagers.
Yes, absolutely.
So question number two then, from that then, what was your first big break?
I suppose it was later in life. I was about 29 years old. I was working in Melbourne at a very famous hotel called the Como, and I was headhunted to be the general manager of a boutique property which was opening up as competition to the Como. Very cutting edge, very hip, funky property in Melbourne in downtown in the CBD. So I was 29 years old and I got the break then as GM. I was actually the youngest GM in Australia at the time.
Wow,
29
years old.
Yes, very scary. I don't know how I did it now looking back, but yeah, that was the first break, I suppose.
Amazing. So question number three, this is a very unique property.
Yes.
Why were you able to make it to where you are now? Or let's change it. Why did they put you in charge of this property here where other people maybe wouldn't have made the cut?
My whole career have been focused on unique boutique hotels. I'm not a big chain boy. I never have gone for the global chains, the mega industry partners. I've avoided them actually. I did one 6-month gig with Hyatt Hotel Group, but it was only 6 months because I soon realized it just wasn't for me. I'm not into global brand standards or conforming to head office directives or regional directives. So I much prefer autonomy. I like to be in control of my property. I like to put a personal aspect into what I do. And that's why I've always been with boutique hotel groups.
Which is what this property is.
Absolutely, yes. This gives me the autonomy to really develop my own systems and procedures.
And we can see that all through the property. Question number four, could you tell us about your darkest moment in your career?
Oh my God. Darkest moment in my career. I would have to say it was working for that global brand and not being able to conform to the global brand standards.
Could you elaborate on that?
I probably prefer not to, but it coming down to a personal objective of mine, and it was very much, well, we can sum it up. It was probably related to my personal behaviour, how I dressed, how I looked, how I felt, and not conforming with the brand identity.
Right, so question five, carrying on from that. How did you get through that then?
I didn't. I resigned and left the position. Unfortunately, I'm probably a little bit old school when it comes to hospitality. I believe in the core values. I am driven by passion. And if those things are challenged, unfortunately, they will always win out. My personal feelings will always carry through. And they did in this instance as well. So I probably didn't get through it. I avoided it and stepped over it.
And never looked back.
And never looked back.
So question number six, and you've answered a little bit already, but I hope you can elaborate on it a little more. Number six, what drives you?
Basically, I drive myself. My friend of mine, very good friend of mine, actually said to me recently that I'm one of the few people he knows where my industry actually defines me. My job defines me, and that is the absolute truth. I am hospitality, so my whole life is hospitality, and that's all there is to it, and that's what drives me.
Mm.
Sure,
So hospitality drives you
absolutely.
and creates you. Question number 7. Do you have a mentor? And if so, who and why?
Um, Very good question. I do have probably two mentors from the industry that I've worked for, and I actually will name them. The first is Mark Bokerman, who was my first general manager 100 years ago when I was a bellboy. Um, he always still sticks in my mind, and I sometimes find myself thinking of his decisions or his characteristics or how he behaved in certain situations, and I adopt myself to that. Even to this day, he's probably retired now and moved, into a home or whatever, but he still is highly regarded by myself, and he is probably my number one mentor.
Number one mentor,
Yeah,
Mark
the
Bogman.
second one would be Michael Saville, who was the general manager of the Como when I was there in 1998, I think it was. And he again was a spectacular GM who thought outside the square. He was unique, he was driven, he was passionate, and I think he installed that core basis into myself. And I still respect them both immensely.
So question number 8. Could you tell us of an experience in your career that's really made you proud?
Well, there's only one that pops to mind, which is my most proudest moment was 2 years after opening the Hotel Lindrum, which is a 4.5-star hotel in Melbourne. I was the GM. That was my first GM role. I put in a submission for the Tourism Awards, for the National Tourism Awards, and through the selection process, etc., we actually won the national award for best 4.5-star hotel in Australia.
Wow.
So that was quite an accomplishment, and we went to the award ceremony, which was held on the Gold Coast, and it was sort of out of the blue. We won the award, and my name was called out, and the hotel's name was called out, and there was silence at our table because we thought they might have misread the announcement. But that was very,
So
very
the
amazing.
youngest GM and the top hotel.
Yes, in Australia, which was awarded by the Australian Hotels Association, which is, there is no bigger identity than them. So
Brilliant.
that was very, very proud moment.
Question number 9, and we have a lot of listeners who are hoteliers or looking to be hoteliers in hotel school. What's the best advice that you could give somebody looking to be a successful GM?
There is only one way to be a successful GM, and that is to know every single role that your team is having to do every day, know the operation inside and out. If you want to get the respect of your team, you have to let them know that you've been there, done that, and you understand the challenges that they go through. As a GM, you have to understand what the pressure is like to remake a room and get it ready in 22 minutes, or as per the operational guidelines. That is a huge job, especially in some situations like here, where we have rooms of, they're huge. Our smallest room is 465 square meters. So turning one of them, you've got a back-to-back booking, you've got 100% occupancy, and you've got guests waiting at reception. You have to understand the pressures that our team are under, and that's right from the kitchen steward up to the GM. If you want to be successful, be a kitchen steward and be a housekeeper, and then work your way up from the bottom to the top. That's the only way.
Wow, that's amazing. So you still set those time standards even on these huge rooms?
Absolutely. There might not be 22 minutes, but they vary depending on the room category. But yes, we have time limits, and you've got guests checking in, paying 20,000, 25,000 baht a night. You can't tell them, I'm sorry, your room's not ready. So there are challenges, and we have to be aware of that. If you want to be successful, just get your hands dirty and work in every department. That's the only way.
So on the flip side, question number 10, what's one thing that hotel GMs shouldn't get wrong or that you've seen getting wrong?
Losing touch. GMs, the last place they should be is in their office. The GM's role basically is guest liaisons. You have to be out the front. You have to meet the guest. You have to become the personality of your property. I mean, a hotel room is a hotel room is a hotel room. We all have minibars and ironing boards and blackout curtains and whatever else. We have all the standard things, but the difference is the GM and the personality they put into the property. And without that, you've just got another property, another property, another property. And it's our job to do that. That's our role. And do the profit and loss and control the expenses and all that stuff. But the main focus is to actually put your personality into it and make it yours.
Which makes this last question in the hotel focus things interesting. Question number 11. If you weren't in the hotel industry, what's your ideal alternate career?
This is something that over the years I've asked myself a few times. There are certain times when you think, oh, I've had enough, I've got to get out of the industry. What would I do? I would probably be interior design or something like that. I'm very passionate about furnishings and interior concepts, but then I would probably be a supplier to the industry anyway. Would I step out of it? I don't know. You could not put me into an office situation or an accounts role or into anything. I'd just be brain dead. I couldn't do it. So, maybe that's the only way I could get out.
So stepping out of hotels just a little bit for our last question, number 12. In this wired world, what's one app that you find yourself using or something that that is you or you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
Well, I had two answers here, but my director of marketing communications told me I couldn't tell you the first one. So one that I'm using all the time is WhatsApp. That is a lifeline at the moment. We have a WhatsApp announcement every day with our general meetings. Our communication lines seem to be very reliant on WhatsApp right now.
So you keep everyone in a group?
Yes, we have a group set up. Well, my secretary does it. I'm quite IT illiterate, so I just know I have to push this green button to get my announcements. But apart from that, that's about all I can do on it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, David Coyle, from the Maikhao Dream Villa Hotel, Resort and Spa.
Thank you.
And it's been an amazing experience down here.
Good. I hope you enjoyed your stay.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Hotelier on the Grill.